Welcome back, everyone. It's Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. I'm Jerry Hall from Costa Rica, the land of singing birds, yapping dogs, and the occasional vehicle driving up and down the gravel road outside my home. I hope you're all well. This is a real quick snapshot. Take a quick look at, we've got a nice little green hue to the XRP price today. I'm a big fan of green, not so much red. A little coin watch action here shows the top cryptos are in the green, the top 10 for sure, top 11. That's wonderful. Let's hope that is a trend that continues. All right, I want to get right to it. Real XRP Boy here put out a short from a Stephen Bull from the DIEP that Adrian Hope Bailey did at a conference back in 2017. Now, it just gave us a little taste. I wanted more, so I reached out to XRP Boy and said, hey, where's the whole enchilada, right? Because I want the whole thing. I want to get every nugget from this guy. So this is his reply. I'm going to take you right to that page. This is the YouTube channel. It's the Bitcoin events. Obviously, Adrian Hope Bailey, Chief Standards Officer, Ripple. Go check it out if you're interested. And if you don't, you can take my word that it was wonderful. How's that? All right. Now to something not so wonderful, but important. I don't want to focus on the actual word-for-word text of this tweet from Truth Raider. However, I do believe it's really important to understand that we're in an economic time that in modern history we've never experienced. We've never experienced a supply shock and a demand shock like this before. What will it mean? Well, it's going to mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Do I believe the apocalypse is coming? No. Do I believe a Stephen King novel is going to be played out over the next 2 years? No. I do believe a lot of change is going to have to happen. People are going to have to scale back their expenditures. I see a lot of people, probably getting rid of their $120 a month cable bills and utilizing $20 to $30 of that on Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu subscriptions. A lot of changes are going to be made. Some people are going to have to move back into their parents' house. Some couples are going to have to move their children into their parents' house. I think families will consolidate. I think 3-car homes will start paring down to 2-car homes or 1-car home. I think there'll be a bigger emphasis once this thing gets rolling back on public transit, Ubers, things of that nature, costs that are more easily manageable. So, prepare yourselves. It's not the end of the world to scale down. I did it in 2015, went from the 3-bedroom house with big screens in every room and every really neat little gadget you could think of, a garage full of all kinds of toys. I had the nice work truck and the car and the motorcycle and, the motorcycle we built for my son. I had a bunch of stuff and it cost me a ton of money every month just to have that lifestyle. Now my life is down to 400 pounds. And the truth of the matter is all that stuff isn't what I derive happiness or peace from. For any of us that are losing family members through this crisis, my heart goes out to you. The economic crisis is going to be difficult, but if you make some adjustments, you'll get through it. It is not the end of the world. It's just a change in the way we operate within it. That's enough about that. Let's move right along. One of my favorite sources of content as it pertains to all things global, financial, economic, etc., is Real Vision. Their free YouTube channel is incredible. If you can afford a subscription, it's like $210 a month, or it's soon to be $210 a year. Scratch that, $210 a year. They're also doing all kinds of free stuff. $1 promotions for a month to have full access to their archives. This is a wonderful little promotion they got going on, or service they're providing with a daily briefing. You get all kinds of content put into your inbox at the end of business every day. The link is right here. So you find this tweet on Real Vision, on their Twitter page, hit the link, put in your email address. It's that simple. These guys are wonderful. They never come after you to upsell you. Never once in my 18-month history with Real Vision has there ever been an attempt to upsell me. I believe in these guys. I get a ton from them. I hope that you do also. Okay, moving right along. Raoul Powell, one of my favorite content creators, gets the most incredible people to have conversations with him. One of them is Dan Tapio. Now, Dan Tapio is a very successful macro guy, started Gold Bullion International, which for those of us in the crypto space knows that that was the gold and silver connection through Uphold. So when you went to Uphold and you bought gold or silver, you were actually getting your gold and silver from Gold Bullion International, which is Dan Tapio. He's the founder, or one of the founders. This is a little 2-minute clip from an interview that Raoul did with Dan, and I'd really like to frame the context that you view this in as these are the kind of guys that are in the rooms of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, State Street, BlackRock, Stanford University Endowment Fund, Yale University Endowment Fund, the California State Employee Retirement Fund, which is a pension fund, in mega insurance companies. They all speak the same language. Listen to this language. I hope it'll frame the direction this digital asset space is going for you. How do I make this work? There we go. Sorry.
Let's say over the last 5 years, okay, if you'd long Bitcoin, if you'd had 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin in a 60-40 portfolio, okay, your performance would have doubled. Okay, a 60-40 portfolio, the performance would have doubled over the last 5 years with a 5% allocation of Bitcoin. So if you add just 2 or 3% or 1 or 2%, you're looking at adding 20, 30 percentage points to performance. And for an institution, that's massive. So I think there's never been as much, I've never seen as asymmetric a bet as exists with Bitcoin. And the risk reward for institutions to even dip a toe into the sector, whether it's owning Bitcoin or whether it's owning a basket of the companies that are growing up in the digital asset ecosystem. Some of those companies were worth zero 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, you take a look at Binance, it was worth 5 years ago, did not exist. And today it's probably a $10, $15 billion company. So you're having tremendous wealth creation going on underneath. But, you know, I speak to different institutional investors, and some of them, I mean, they've never heard of any of these companies. To imagine you're talking to a guy running billions of dollars who's never heard of Coinbase. I mean, it's almost impossible to think that for us. Not that Coinbase is the be-all, end-all, the greatest company, whatever, but it's a large company in the space that's been around for 7 or 8 years, that is making a ton of money, that has good management, has hundreds of people working for them, offices all around the world. They're making money.
And there you have it. If those conversations are not happening, they soon will be. Now, on to what's going on with this crisis. There's a lot of noise. You can get 100 doctors, all with the same prestigious, wonderful universities above, in this beautiful font on their diplomas. And they will all tell you slightly different things. Half of them may tell you this, half of them may tell you that. The point is, there is no 100% consensus. In my opinion, Dr. Mark Hyman and a lot of the folks in the functional medical space, these are classically trained doctors who realize that prescriptions are, and pharmaceutical treatments for symptoms are not the path to good health. Follow Dr. Mark Hyman on Twitter. They put out all kinds of wonderful stuff. Matter of fact, right down here, if you go to his profile, you'll see that right here, he got 3 other doctors together, did a webinar. If you go check out this webinar, which I did and I really liked it, keep in mind their tech is a little, they're not techies, they're doctors. They're about biology and anatomy and nutrition and things of that nature, not how to work these deals. So you go to the video and you got to go to the 33-minute mark before it really starts. Small price to pay if you want to get this kind of good information. I hope that you check that out if you're interested in those things. But he is definitely a voice of truth and reason in a sea of absolute noise as it pertains to what's real and what isn't real. All right, I'm going to move along here. Now, the other day I did an interview with Jungle Inc. It was wonderful. He asked me about investment stuff. One of the things I told him about was gold. We talked about bonds for a minute. Bonds aren't what they used to be. However, there are a type of bonds, and they're called municipal bonds, whether they be issued from the city that you live in, or any city, in any county, in any state. The point is, municipal bonds have slightly different structure. And one of the wonderful things about municipal bonds is that many of them are tax-free. And if you're hungry for yield, right, you want a return on your investment. The bond market isn't what it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago. That climate for investing in debt has changed dramatically. Why tax-free has any real advantage to you is that it can absolutely change the net return. So if I am in a corporate bond paying me 7%, yet I have to pay capital gains on that money, it's a completely different net effect if my bond is tax-free. So all of the profit from the municipal bond is tax-free. I have no tax liability. It changes the net. And at the end of the day, it matters how much of my hard-earned money was invested in this thing and how much did I get back. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy learning as I go, just like all of you, but it's definitely something to consider if the security and stability of a bond is something that you're considering stacking some money into during these very uncertain economic times. Now, to finish up on bonds, Bloomberg actually has a wonderful deal here. Now, it's not just the US. You can go to indices. Obviously, I have the page on the US, but they also have UK bonds, Germany, Japan, Australia. Bonds are common all over the world. You can go find the country that you're in. I went down here to municipal bonds. This is giving me yields, the days and months and year returns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can also go to any investment house, a Charles Schwab, et cetera, and say, hey, I'd like to take a look at my local stuff. What do you got for me in the city area? What do you got for me in the county area? What do you got for me specific to my state? Now, as we close to an end here, I think it's really important to try to have a positive impact in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of pain going on economically. There's a lot of stress and uncertainty as it pertains to the health crisis. There are real families losing family members to this pandemic. But every once in a while, something will, be put in front of my eyeballs that makes me smile. This is one of those such posts. This is from Justine, and I found this to be hilarious. Justine, if you're listening, thank you so much for posting this. I got a chuckle out of it. It was just wonderful to have a smile and a giggle as as I go through my stressful life, and I'm sure you're having stressful lives too. So anyway, folks, that's enough for me. These are my thoughts. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Pura Vida.